And it goes back to a speech problem, impediment that I had as a kid, where your R's are W's. And I grew up as a kid, and it was everything that was an R came out as a W. I mean, even to the point where I would get very skilled at avoiding trying to say or read words that had R's in them. And then even into high school, by then you learn to, if you're doing a book report, you get to say ahead what you want to write, or write down what you want to say or whatever, so you can avoid that. But
all right, so from what I understand, this was a house. He's going to let us in. This is the original church.
Yeah, this was the original main entrance.
The converted house.
Right.
When I arrived in North Liberty, Indiana, to interview fellow BJU alum Wayne Joyner, he opened up to me during our initial conversation about a hurdle he had overcome as a young person. And as I talked with him and his family, I began to realize his role as pastor was something he has to work hard at every single day.
He's a very humble person. He'd be the first one to tell you I'm not the greatest preacher. He definitely knows he's not the greatest musician or song leader. That was one of the battles he had when we first got here, he was it. And as he would say, I can't carry a tune in a bucket. And he sort of couldn't.
He cannot carry a tune in a bucket. I mean, he doesn't even have the bucket. And but he comes here without anything, and he daily will lead people in singing. It's atrocious. It's bad.
A speech impediment and an inability to lead music. Two things that would deter most people from filling a pulpit. You mentioned a little bit about not wanting to go into a profession that is a public speaking profession, and yet I sit here in your office, having been in the pastorate since you graduated.
Right. So here I am at Bob Jones taking freshman speech, and somehow, some way, after giving a couple speeches, my speech teacher said, asked me to stay after. She said, hey, I noticed you have a little problem, a little issue with your R's. I think we can help you.
In this moment, I remembered something else Wayne's family said when they were describing what they admired most about him.
The fact that he is faithful, what you see is what you get. There's nothing hidden.
Just being really faithful.
You specifically said faithfulness, which is really interesting because that's something your mom said too.
Yeah. For me to do something that I'm not good at and to stand in front of people, I wouldn't do it. And yet he's done it for 23 years of leading music. But even in that, he cannot master it. It's just God has not given him the gift for even tone, really. And yet he's the humility to be able to stand up and do that, knowing that it's not going to be very good. To be able to say, okay, I still can learn though in that. How can I at least improve something that's not very good and make it less not very good?
So lo and behold, I get a slip in my PO box from Dr. Bonner. I'm thinking she was probably in her 80s then, 70s or 80s, and she was the typical sweet, dear little lady. And she sent me, she said, stop by my office during lunch. So I went up there in the back of Rhoda Haver, wherever her lot, and went in there, and she said, and introduced herself. She said, I can help you. If you're willing to give up a partial part of your lunchtime every day, I think we can help you overcome this. I don't know I can't remember now if it was 2 times a week, 3 times, however, but I would go up there, and here I am, college freshman, sitting across from her desk, and basically she's holding up flashcards. And I'm saying, railroad, rabbit, and I'm saying these things. And after she did that for, I don't know how long it lasted, lo and behold, I was able to help overcome that. So I felt a little more comfortable now.
It was at this point I realized Wayne's hard work, willingness to accept help from others, and dependence on God are the keys to his ministry. What a kindness from Dr. Bonner.
Oh, yes. And again, she was one of those low-key, behind-the-scenes type individuals as well. And I think she knew that in some ways it was embarrassing, for a college guy to have to sit here like a kindergartner with flashcards. But she never made me feel that way.